guys! Today we have the one and only C8 Z06. Now this could very well be one of the last naturally aspirated Corvettes that Chevy produces, as they have came out with the E-Ray, a hybrid Corvette. So the C8 Z06 starts around $115,000, and this one is optioned to $140,000. But man, are the options plentiful, and boy, doesn't this one look awesome. Starting off with exterior styling here in the front, just look at how sharp and aggressive and sporty this Z06 looks compared to the regular C8. So there are a few upgrades for the Z06 model compared to just the base C8, and that is that we have more open air vents down here in the front for better cooling, of course. And then just a few things is the C8 model is actually the very first Corvette to have a front trunk because of that mid-engine design, which is awesome. You guys know I love front trunks so much. But I absolutely love the body lines on this car. It just looks super sharp and just like a fighter jet or something. Like, it's just ready to go super fast. One really cool thing, a little Easter egg, is they have Team Corvette here in the windshield because you're part of a team and a family when you buy a Corvette. And then right here in the front of this huge little air vent part, we have these two little cameras that do something really cool that I'm gonna show you in just a little bit. Now, coming down the side of the C8 Z06, but first, we're gonna talk about the wheels here. As you may have seen, a lot of C8s, like the base model, just have like these flat two-dimensional wheels that like don't really look like they fit the best up in the wheel well. But these from factory look awesome. They are bigger and wider, and that's what gives it like the wider front end and rear end on this car. And just the fitment looks great, like I said, just from factory. And that's because of like the upgraded suspension and things like that. It sits right. It looks so good. I don't even know if I would change these wheels because they look awesome and just fit the car absolutely perfectly. And another perk of the Z06, you do get upgraded chassis tuning and upgraded brakes from the factory. But if you want to go even higher than that, you can get carbon ceramics on this car for only $8,500. Still a pretty good price. You're gonna need that stopping power with this car. And if we keep coming down the side, I just absolutely love this sharp body line. It's just like wide in the front and it gets a little skinny and just fat in the back. Like, you know that you are driving something super fast and super special here. It is honestly giving off like supercar vibes. And of course, you have your massive air vent here on the side, letting you know that it is a Z06 because the regular C8 just has like a little tiny air vent on the side, but this is needed to suck in all of that air to cool down that big old motor back there.
You've got to go check out me on my socials. I love checking out cars on the side, but I post all of my best content in the link below. Plus, you will get to see my review of this awesome Koenigsegg Regera.
So starting off in the rear of the C8 Z06 here, the Z06 is 3 inches wider in the back than a regular C8, and that's because of like all the fitment and the suspension and like the wheels being wider and things like that, because this is a more racy C8 and I absolutely love it, especially in this color. So we're gonna start down here with the exhaust, and this is the quad exhaust that you know and love from previous Z06 models. And Chevy has designed this exhaust for the perfect pitch and sound of this car. So it sounds really, really nasty. And if we see all of these air vents right here that are actually functional in this bumper area and even above that, because like I said, you need all the cooling you can get for this motor. And then if we look right above that, right above the license plate in this really cool girl that you should go subscribe to, that is our backup camera right under the word Corvette. I would have loved if they would have stuck Z06 somewhere under there just to let everybody behind you know. But then we also have our iconic C8 taillights. They just look super sharp, and I really love how they have redesigned them from the past designs. And now, moving up on the trunk area here, we have this spoiler, which actually fits the car super well. It's not too big, it's not too like overwhelmingly sporty and aggressive, even though you can if you want to upgrade to the Z07 package and get more options for cool things on this car. But it looks really nice, and they actually designed the trunk around the spoiler. So when you lift up the trunk, the spoiler actually stays in place, which is kind of cool, but also kind of scary if you're like loading things in and you don't want to like hit your spoiler, you know? So let's move up to the glass here where you can actually see your engine back there. I absolutely love that. I hate when automakers just like don't show you what you're paying for. And this sucker is awesome. So around that big piece of glass, we have functional air vents once again for better cooling. And we have a cool little Easter egg on that glass where it's like little tiny Corvette logos like raining down up at the top. And that is super cool. They really want you to know that you have a Corvette in every way possible. And above that is our rear view mirror visor camera. So you can actually have a regular visor or you can have a camera. And with this massive whole trunk body piece here, which you don't see too often, you actually open your trunk and your hood at the same time. So let's get into it. Now, getting into the trunk of the C8 Z06. And as I said, this whole thing pops up and it is on struts. So it stays up for you. You don't have to put up a little bar or hold it up. It's just nice and in the air for you. So there is 3 ways to get into this trunk, which kind of seems a little excessive, but of course you have your button right here above your license plate where you can pop that. 2, it is on your key where you can hit 2 times and it pops open for you. Or 3, there is a little button right here on the inside of the door that will pop it open as well. And first, let's just talk about the elephant in the room, this big rapid blue panel right here. So every single C8 is actually like a Targa top. So you can take off that middle panel right above your head and you all of a sudden have a convertible. But then you can have a coupe when you want it. So if it starts to rain, you just pop it back on. But then when it gets sunny again, you take it back off, right? So it's very convenient. And something also very cool is that Chevy has designed this trunk to fit your Targa top absolutely perfectly, but it does take a little bit of like finagling to get in here and fit just right. But overall impressions of the trunk space is like, it is huge. And Chevy says it fits your golf clubs, which is what a lot of Corvette owners want, of course. But I love that it like takes the whole width of this trunk area. Like there's no unnecessary plastic, like cutting your trunk space in half or anything like that. But then like every time you get in your trunk, you see your beautiful motor, which I'm gonna tell you all about. So for the engine specs on the C8 Z06, this is a 5.5 liter naturally aspirated V8 going 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds, which is literally as fast as a Lamborghini STO or a McLaren 720S in a Corvette. Y'all, that is so fast. Like, holy cow. And this car makes a staggering 670 horsepower compared to the base model C8 that only makes 500. Like, that is such a huge difference, and you get so much car for the money. And this is the most powerful V8 ever produced because of Chevy's flat plane crank design. This thing is a beast, to be honest. And then down here, if we just look at this massive, menacing motor, I feel like it's kind of hard to work on. You gotta kind of like, right over the side if you need to like do anything in there, which of course you can come from the bottom, but it's just kind of hard to get all over there. Just a few things on the motor itself. There is a little plaque of a signed name of whoever built your motor. These are hand built. And the plaque is just like a GTR, how they also hand build their motors. So I think that's a cool little touch that Chevy did. And on the side here, you have the little Chevy logo once again. Super cool, just letting you know that you have something completely special. And right behind that, on this big trunk piece, you have little lights. So your motor is always illuminated when this piece is open. One downside to this car, in the motor specifically, is it doesn't let you rev past 3,000 RPMs when you're parked. A lot of cars do that nowadays, but I'm still gonna give it a listen. So let's do that. Oh my God. Wow. That sounds so good. It is so loud right off the bat. I can really see where Chevy took their time perfecting this. And thanks so much to AutoNation Chevrolet of South Clearwater for letting me do the review on this C8 Z06. Now, after removing the Targa top piece out of here, you can actually see how big and deep this trunk space really is. There's a whole lot going on in here. Like, you have these little mechanisms that your whole Targa top piece like kind of slides into and like kind of clips in a little bit so that it's not moving around all the way back there and you're not worried about it. But it does take up the entirety of your trunk space. So beside that, we have a whole bunch of these like little hooks back here where you can just like hook your little grocery bags or whatever so it's not rolling around, which is super nice and convenient. But on each side of the trunk, there's like these kind of deeper pocket pieces. Like, you actually have area to put things if they're like bigger in a certain area or something like that. If we move along this front panel here, we have a couple lights, one on each side. And if you look right here, we have this emergency little lever thing that you can pull if you get stuck in the back of your C8. And it's so cute. It's like a little car with a trunk popped open with a little man running away. Like, it's so unique and it's funny. But one cool thing about closing this whole trunk mechanism is that there is a little spot for your hands right here so that it's easier to pull down. And when you do, it'll go down, and when you get closer to the bottom there, and you press on the latch a little bit, it will automatically soft close and put all of your lines back in place. And my favorite part about any car that has it, we are now getting into the frunk area. And how you get into there is you have a little button on your key that you can hit 2 times and it will pop open for you. Or on the inside of the door, once again next to your trunk button, you can hit that and it will pop up. And there is no little latch that you gotta do on here to lift it up. It just pops open and there you go. There is your very deep front trunk. Oh, I love them. You can fit so much in there. Like, I think it's literally longer than my arm at this point. It is deep, it is big. There are hooks in here, just like in the trunk, so you can put some grocery bags or things like that. And then there is a little light. There's like a small little panel on the left side here where it illuminates your 12 volt. And then there's another little running man jumping out of the front of the car instead of the trunk back there. So cute, in case you ever get stuck. Above that, we have our windshield washer fluid, and to the left, we have our brake fluid, but not much else in here. But I am gonna show you something really cool that is optional for this car. And this is the Corvette Highway Safety Kit, which is a $150 option, but it's actually so cool and has really neat things inside. You get an actual Corvette logo on this big ol' leather piece of briefcase thing, you know? If we open it up, we have a lot of cool things. So we have some jumper cables right there, which is convenient. They're all wrapped up and nice. They give you like 5 little zip ties, so I sure hope your problem is solved in 5 zip ties. Beside that, we get some Chevy duct tape. We get a really cool hand squeeze flashlight. No batteries, no bulbs. Never even seen that before, but Chevy has. We get a little rag right here. We get a bungee cord, and a screwdriver and some pliers. And then we get some gloves, because why get your hands dirty when Chevy provides? This is just a cool little thing that you can add to your car and have some ease of mind if you ever get stranded on the side of the road. So before we hop into the inside, I'm going to give you a little tour of the C8 Z06 key here. So this is just the regular C8 key. You don't get anything special with a Z06. There's just a few buttons on here, a little lock, a little unlock, and then these are your front trunk poppies and your rear trunk button right there. And then we also do have a remote start right here in the middle for you. And hopping in, if we just follow this little vent down a little bit, there's like a little rubber piece and you just pop it open and there you go. You just pull on it a little bit and here we are. And before we hop in, I'm going to show you something really cool. It's right here on the door telling you where your C8 was built, in Bowling Green, of course, but that is a really cool touch from Chevy. And we have Z06 on the door sill before you hop into this, just to let you know once again, you got a Z06. Hopping into the interior of the C8 Z06 here. This is awesome. Okay guys, I absolutely love all the customization options that Chevy gives you for these cars, because look at these seats. Look at the leather. It's the same color as the outside, and I love how that brings it all together in here. And I love the stitching. Everything just looks super nice and really well built and put together just perfectly. I love the carbon fiber option that is on this car. It's like $1,500 or something like that for the carbon trim on the inside, and it really just makes it look sporty and super, super cool. So let's start over on the door here. There is a lot going on, especially with this carbon and this blue leather and stuff like that. It just looks super, super cool. So of course up here we have our mirror controls and things like that. But below that, we have like the weirdest window buttons I've ever seen. I was like, what was that when I first saw it? Because it's like not even in the shape of a window really. And then it just has like an A on it. I'm like, what? But I guess that's for like automatic windows or something, but that's a little odd. So if we move down, we see this little button right here in the silver, and that is actually your door popper button. And if that ever fails, then there is a little manual release down in your footwell, so don't be scared. Beside that, you have your lock and unlock. And then under that is where you will find your trunk pop button and your front button. Now, let's talk about this super, super cool and sporty steering wheel. Like I said, carbon fiber makes everything better. So with the package, you do get the steering wheel, which has your little blue line on it for racing, of course. And it's like this cool, like hexagon-y design. It's like more of a racing kind of steering wheel. They don't just want to give you something basic in your C8. And right here at the bottom, it says Z06 for you. So of course, you know you're in a Z06. But just going over a few things here, I really love the stitching once again. It just looks tight, it looks clean, like everything just feels so good. All materials are super, super nice, and I love the little bits of silver to like break everything up. Starting off with our stalks, they're just some basic kind of plastic stalks, nothing special back there. But once again, we have carbon right here on our paddle shifters, which really pulls this whole area all together. And we have something really cool. It's Z mode. So you can go in your infotainment and you can personalize everything you want about the mode, like suspension and things like that. And so you can save that and then go over here and press Z whenever you want to be in that mode at any time, and it will automatically adjust your car to that. We have some cruise control options, and then we have on this side a heated steering wheel button. What? Super cool. I love a heated steering wheel. And we have some little scrolly knobs and your volume controls down here underneath of that. Now, moving into this center console area here, as you can see, this screen like almost wraps around the driver. Like this is a very super driver focused cockpit. Like even all of the buttons are facing the driver. Even though the passenger can use them, this is their bottom half for the passenger buttons, and then the driver buttons are up here. These are actually all of your climate controls right here in a single line. I feel like it'd be super confusing, honestly, like just knowing like where things are, like when you need to use them instantly. So that's just my opinion, but I really like how we have these screens right here. I think it's super nice and like a really good update from Chevy. So first, we have our engine start-stop button right here on the right side, and it's no basic plastic button at all. It is actually metal and looks really, really cool. And if we look right here, we just have like our drive buttons, but they're all a little bit different. So if you have your drive here, you actually pull it towards you. And then you also do the same with reverse, but neutral and park are their own little buttons. And then you have your manual button down here. It just kind of looks like a little bit out of place. But if we move over just a little bit, here is our front end lift button right here at the top. We have a very easily accessible camera button right here at the top as well. And then this is our dial. It can be your hand rest, right? When you're just driving, chilling, or you can twist it and it changes your drive modes. And first, I just want to reiterate how nice this interior is, especially the seats. So this is a 3LZ package, so it is a little bit better than the base model seats, and these really feel tight. Like, these are nice, super bolstered bucket seats, and you just feel like you're not going anywhere. And like the design of these just looks super sporty, especially with the carbon on them and this leather. And with the seat belts, even those are blue. So cool and so customizable. I love seeing all the colors that people do with their Corvettes. And like I mentioned, every Corvette has a targa top that you can take off and make it like open like this, or you can actually get a convertible for $7,500 more. But with the convertible, you cannot see your motor back there like you can with this one. And this top is really easy to take off. It's just like a couple latches. So like, why wouldn't you just get this one? It's super nice and you can have a hard top when you want it. And just a few things around this whole mirror area is like this big old like plasticky kind of island thing. There's like a lot going on up here actually. So we have our hazards right there, and next to that, we have our lane keep assist button. Like, it's all the way up there. That's kind of wild. And then right here in the middle, we have like a little teeny light that I swear is like this big. It's so cute when it's turned on. But under that, we have our mirror, of course, and I really love how it's borderless and looks super nice. It's not really plasticky at all. Like, it fits the aesthetic. But the visibility is not the best using just the regular mirror, but Chevy has solved that. Like I said, this can be a camera, and it's right there above that glass piece on the back of your motor. And for storage, there's actually a lot in here, and I did not expect that. So first, we're gonna start on the door here. There's like a little tiny cubby right here underneath all of your buttons, and then underneath that is also a small cubby that is on your passenger door as well. If we move in, you just press down on this little panel right there and it reveals your cup holders. But when you don't want your cup holders showing, you just put the little panel back and it's the same color as your whole center console, so you don't even notice it's there. This part actually lifts up with this button right here on the side, and you press that and it pops open that way, which is kind of different. I'm used to it popping open backwards, but this is a nice little area to store something small, like if you wanted to keep your phone in there. There is a USB-C plug and a regular USB plug-in right there. And if we keep going through this middle piece, this is actually a wireless charger, and it says, don't put your paperclip or your key or your money in here. You should only put your phone there if that's what you want to do. And above that, we have another Z06 logo right there. Just once again, letting you know. But another cool Easter egg that you would probably never see if I didn't point this out is they literally have a Chevy logo in all of these little dots. You can only see it from a certain angle, but it is still super cool and a nice touch. And one more point of storage is our glove box, of course. And this is the button that you press to open it. And it folds down all the way. Like, it doesn't stop just like right here. No, it's like all the way down there. So you have a lot of space back there actually, but it kind of feels like your things would like fall out if there was too much in there. But above our glove box are our vents, right? But look at them. They're just like these little tiny thin nub thingies to move your vents around, which is something I've never seen before, but it does look super sleek and cool. And as I've been clicking through this infotainment, I feel like things are just like taking a really long time to get into. Like, say I go click phone. Like, it's just like, okay, it's kind of taking quite a little bit. Like that's a long time to wait for something that you need to click like right now. You know what I mean? But let's just pop through this. There is 2 home buttons right here. There's a little home button at the bottom of your screen, and there's one right there as a physical button. And there is like a lot of different integrations into the screen, if you call it. One, there's Google Assistant. There's Android, like audio and things like that. There's Apple CarPlay. And then there's Alexa, and then there's my Chevrolet. And then it's like so many things. Like, they try to put everything into one little area. Like, they're trying to please everybody in that sense. But this is just a very basic infotainment, so not a whole lot to go over. You just like have your radio, your phone connections. They use Google Maps on this car from the factory. But if I click my cameras, look how crisp those cameras look. And you can look at it from all different angles, which is super, super cool. So it makes backing up and looking around your car super easy, which is exactly what you want. So if I scroll over, there is something really cool right here, the PDR. And that's what those 2 little cameras were up in the front grille. This is what that records. So it actually records like all of your performance data if you want to do that. So you can like check your lap times and your 0 to 60 and like see where your hands were on the steering wheel. And like if you didn't take that corner good enough, you can see that and record that on your car, which is super, super cool. So if I go back home, there is some climate controls, but they're very, very basic. And all of your climate is over here as physical buttons, so you really don't have to get in depth with that. And I mean, just some settings. Like, it is very basic. The buttons, like I said, are just like a little delayed. It takes a while to like wake up and click on things. But other than that, it's just easy. And one other thing I will note is like this is your main screen, but then your gauge cluster screen is like over here, but it doesn't turn on unless the car is like completely on. So I can't even like show you something like right there right now. But there is something really cool that I want to show you that we found out is if you change your drive mode like right now while you're just sitting in this little screen, if you twist it to the right, you get this little infotainment graphic of the track because you're going into track mode, but it plays you like a little movie before it puts you in that mode, which is super cute. Now for my 3 favorite features, one has to be the customization that you can do with this car. Like, it can be yours. So you can bring the blue into the interior just like they did on this one. And it is just awesome. I really love that you can pick all kinds of colors for literally everything in the car. 2 has to be the Targa top that you can just take off and have a convertible whenever you want it without having to actually have a convertible. That's super neat, and you don't see a lot of cars with that today. 3 has to be the glass piece where you can see your whole entire engine back there, and then that whole big old piece opens up to be your trunk slash hood thing, but like you can actually use that area. Like you can get to your motor if you need it. So I just really like that you can see it and it's there for you. For my Riley ranking, I will give this car an 8.7 at least. It is a lot of car for the money. I know 140,000 seems a little steep, but this one is brand new with 3 miles on it. So it is like the top of the market at the moment. But even if you got a lower trim, you still get the same motor and you still get that like really aggressiveness that you get in this car. This is like supercar specs, but as a Chevy. Like they're super nice, they look aggressive, they're super cool, but the infotainment kind of kills it just a little bit with how slow it is and just not super user friendly and like all the different kind of integrations they're trying to put in there. But overall, this car is definitely a bargain. And if you thought this car was cool, you've got to go check out the others that I have reviewed. And this is such a cute car and I would look so cute in it. Hello, wake up, Alexa, Google, Chevy, Apple CarPlay. Oh, you have the key, don't you? No? It's not here. You have it. Oh, it's on the thingy. Okay. We have like the weirdest like, hold on, window button? Yeah. Okay. Center. Wait, what were they called? What are they called? And then we do have this little cute little trunk button, and it's, oh, no, not the trunk button. Oops. I guess it's remote start. Is that remote start? Okay. Oh, this one don't do it. Oops.